So I think we can go ahead and cast the Hullbreaker Horror here during combat to try to eat one of their creatures. I know they could bounce it or something, but I think we're going to go ahead and try this line, see if it works out. And oh boy, yeah, alright. Hello, Daily Drafters. Today is Friday, January 7th, and thanks for joining me for today's Daily Draft. As we get into the content here, I'd like to give a special shout out and thank you to each of those in the subscriber community for choosing to spend a part of your day here with me. And for those of you that aren't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that red subscribe button attached to this video. Remember, it's absolutely free, doesn't cost you a dime, and you will then have access to the most consistent, high-quality MTG Limited content on YouTube. Also, before we get into this Pack 1 Pick 1, I'd like to give a big thank you to everyone that has even watched one of my videos ever, because this week we've hit over 1,000 views on the channel, which is pretty exciting. We're growing pretty quickly, and I'm really excited about the future of the channel here. We've already hit 1,000, and here's to 1,000 more. Awesome. So here we're in this Pack 1 Pick 1. Graph Reaver is horrible. We're not going to consider it. Best common Flourishing Hunter? Maybe? I mean, the commons aren't great. There's Parasitic Grasp and there's Twinblade Geist. Black has been overdrafted a lot lately, to the point where I think we might get pushed off of this, but I think it's just by far and away the best card in the pack. I mean, Twinblade Geist is good, and maybe there's an... Actually, you know what? I'm switching my mind. I'm going with Twinblade Geist over Parasitic Grasp because of the fact that Black has been way overdrafted lately. And this goes really well into like a blue-white shell, but decks that I really, really like. So I'm going to go ahead and start here and see where we can go from there. So, kind of punished because there's a Bleed Dry here, which I do think in a vacuum is better than Traveling Minister. There's also a Thirst for Discovery, but I don't think there's a need to branch off of white if there is the best white common in the pack in Traveling Minister. Would have been pretty good to go Parasitic Grasp into Bleed Dry and just hold on to black. But, again, I'm not really willing to fight over black as much as I think I'm going to have to in a lot of these drafts. We're at the part of the format where it's just kind of doing what you want to do and making decisions for yourself rather than necessarily trying to force the best color or best archetype all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and take the best white common here in Traveling Minister. And then we see... not a lot. So Jacob Hauken is a mythic rare, but in the games I've seen this in, I've never actually drafted or played with this card, or played against this card. Maybe I played against it once, but in the games I've seen it on the battlefield, it is so incredibly slow. It's decent. I think I'm going to take it out of this pack because, I mean, if you look what else is here, maybe a Shield Basher. That's about it. So I think I'm going to take it, but I don't think I'm going to be married to blue-white necessarily just for this card. It puts a little weight in blue for us, but I don't think it puts even as much weight as like a Traveling Minister does in white. So we'll take Jacob Hauken, but we'll see where that goes. But then we see a Brinecomer, and this is a great sign, pick 4, because there's also Geistlight Snare, Cradle of Safety, and Shield Basher, all of which I would love to have in a blue-white deck. And there's a chance we could wheel some of them because cards like somebody's going to rare draft Dig Up, somebody's going to take Hunter, somebody's going to take Pointed Discussion and Ragged Recluse because black is going to be, they're going to be taking black cards to our left because we passed them good black. But we're going to go ahead and take a Brinecomer here and really see if we can find our way into blue-white. Okay, so best card in this pack, probably Hookhand Mariner. There's an Evolving Wilds, which is good. Gutter Skulker has been hit or miss, but I actually like it enough to take it here. I think we have a pretty low curve so far. We have a lot of Disturb. Gutter Skulker works really well with Traveling Minister. If we can get a couple of larger ground creatures even for the backside of Skulker here, I think it's going to be totally fine. So I'm actually going to take the first copy of Gutter Skulker. And we are seeing good cards for our deck. So we see here Heron Blessed Geist, Steelclad Spirit, and Lunar Rejection. I think Lunar Rejection is enough better than these two cards that I'm going to go ahead and take it here. In blue-white, would not mind playing a Heron Blessed Geist or Steelclad Spirit. So we'll see if this happens in this draft. If we do continue to stay blue-white, almost every blue-white deck I've had on this channel has ended up with either Dorothea or Catilda or both. So let's cross our fingers and see if one of those cards can make their way to us, because those really make this deck tick. But we'll go ahead and take the removal spell here and then be happy with a 7th pick Traveling Minister, which tells me white is relatively open here. White and green, these red cards are not good enough to really read a signal off of them. I think the best card here is Minister followed by Ripsaw, but we're going to go ahead and take that Minister. Be very happy about it. And then we'll take our first copy of Nurturing Presence. I think if any deck in this format wants this card, it's blue-white, and that's kind of where we're looking to go right now. I mean, just look at Brine Comber plus Nurturing Presence. You know, this creates 2 1/1s when you enter the battlefield. Then when you put this on top of it, you create two 1/1 flyers, and it starts to get pumped. I mean, it's already a combo enough in itself that I'm willing to play that there. We got Spirit, another Nurturing Presence, and a Cobbled Lancer. Cobbled Lancer does not really fit well in blue-white because you want to be exiling creatures from your graveyard, and we don't want to exile this. We don't want to exile this. We don't want to exile this. So you see where we're going with that right now. I think if we want a second copy of Nurturing Presence, we could find it. So I'm actually going to take my first Steelclad Spirit because I've noticed in blue-white, flying is the name of the game, and Steelclad Spirit does a great job of locking down the ground for you. Another thing that I really like in blue-white is either Adamant Will or Cradle of Safety, or both. Because when we start putting Brine-bound Gift or Gutter Shortcut on the back of things, we want to have something to protect them with. So we'll go ahead and take our first Adamant Will. Syncopate seems fine here. I think Syncopate is better than Wash Away, and I don't care about these other 2 cards. We'll take our first Syncopate, and we're really hoping to wheel. I think this next pack would have a Cradle of Safety or something along those lines. I think there was a lot of good blue-white in this next pack. So let's see what comes back here. There it is. Cradle of Safety. That's exactly what we're looking for in blue-white. We'll go ahead and take that. And after pack 1, we're kind of solidified here into blue-white and totally fine with it, right? I mean, we did pass Parasitic Grasp into Bleed Dry, but look where we ended up instead. After those 2 black cards, I'm not sure there was another good enough black card to consider taking over any of the cards that we took. So that's exactly why I did what I did in pack 1, pick 1. Taking a Traveling Minister over a Parasitic Grasp. Or, I mean, it was a Twin Blade Geist over Parasitic Grasp, right? I think we ended up so far, not speaking for the rest of the draft, but I think we ended up so far in a better spot than if we had taken those 2 black cards and just tried to hold on for dear life and then ended up with 2 good black cards and a bunch of mediocre meh after that. In a pinch, we could play that, but I don't think we necessarily need to. And then now we're just blue-white because we opened maybe the best bomb in the format. So we're going to take Hullbreaker Horror, and the rest of our draft is going to be built around making sure we can get to cast it. So this will be fun. Let's see, if this wasn't here, I'd be happy with hopefully the Spirit Wheels, because now that we have a Horror, having even 2, 3 copies of Spirit is going to be just fine. Because if we can sure up the ground enough to get to this card, it's going to be great. Would love a couple Lantern Bearers as well, because that goes well with this. It's a cheap creature you can use to trigger it. So we're going to go ahead and take Hullbreaker Horror and not look back. And we're going to get past a Catilda here, watch. I have no idea. Maybe. Be nice. 99% sure our neighbor to the left isn't black, so we're going to get hooked up a little bit here in pack 2, I would think. So of all these cards in our deck right now, I think the Scob... Why did it do that? I think the Scob is the one card I would prefer not to play, but everything else I'm really fine playing, to be honest. So we'll see what comes. I feel like this is taking longer than it should for a pack 1. Or a pick 1. Okay, well, here it comes. Alright, so obviously underwhelming. They took the rare. So we just got unlucky in the fact the rare must have been blue, which is awkward. Makes me think that they're blue-black to our left, and we're thinking between the rare and the Fell Stinger because there's no other blue card in this pack. And I'm 99% sure every pack has to contain at least one card of each color. So looks like this might have to be the pack where we work on white cards, and I'm totally fine taking a Heron of Hope having double Minister already. This is a great combo. One I like to assemble in all of my blue-white decks. So I'll take my first Heron of Hope here and see if we can get hooked up with some white cards in pack 2, and then maybe we fill out the rest of our blue in pack 3. So I don't talk about it often on this channel, but it is interesting to note a couple of signals, even this early in packs, right? So the rare and the uncommon was taken. All of the commons are here. There's at least one in each color. And the uncommon that was taken is a flip card. So in each pack in Crimson Vow, there is a common flip card. Here's one. And there's an uncommon flip card. And because there's 2 uncommons left, 3 in each pack, 1 is gone, meaning it was an uncommon flip card. So we know that's what they took to our left. But we're going to go ahead and take Storm Chaser Drake here for this pack. Adamant Will, Cradle of Safety. Great ways to trigger it, not to mention the backside of Brian Comer, Gutter Skulker, etc. So we will definitely take Storm Chaser Drake here. So lots of commons missing from this pack here. Again, the uncommon flip card gone. So I think we're between Siphon Essence and Heron Blessed Geist. We have a lot of 2s. I don't think we have a lot of instants. We have 3 instants. That's not bad, but they're kind of like tricks. And there is a Siphon Essence and a Heron Blessed Geist. I think I'm going to go with my first Geist. I'd rather lean on the side of creatures than non-creatures if given the opportunity. That's not to say I wouldn't play a Siphon Essence. I would, but I think I want to secure our first Heron Blessed Geist in this deck. Okay, so we've got a lot of decent options here. We've got Binding Geist, Adamant Will, Shield Basher, and Heron Blessed Geist. I don't think Supernatural Rescue is in the conversation here. I don't think I want a second Geist over either of these cards. I do already have 1 Adamant Will and 1 Cradle of Safety, and I feel like if I want another one, I can get access to it. And honestly, if I had the choice, I'd prefer more Cradle of Safeties. I've really, really liked Shield Bashers in these decks. I think this is an underrated card. If you get the board to stall a little bit, you can kind of protect it, give it light, or give it indestructible. It becomes a really hard thing to deal with. And here we go, we have a lot of blue-white. The only problem is none of it's that good. So I think we can take our first Scattered Thoughts, mainly because I don't want any of these cards. Even Griffwing Cavalry, we have a lot of 4-drops. Not a lot, but we have a few 4-drops already. This is another one. But I don't think Griffwing Cavalry is necessarily what this deck is trying to do. And if we think about our horror, there's not really any cards here that help us get there. So we're just going to take the card draw spell and then get rewarded with the Quartermaster. There's also a Cruel Witness, which I would be totally fine having. And I'd even play a Binding Geist in this deck, because again, that helps us get to horror. It can trade and then put something on the back of something. But Quartermaster is good enough that we're going to go ahead and take that. I think blue-white is wide open at this table. So let's hope we can capitalize on which cards are opened so that we can get a even better deck. Would love another copy of Brian Comer, maybe a couple of cheaper creatures. Take a second Syncopate over a Militia Rallier here. Don't want to play either of these cards. So we'll take second Syncopate, and I think we're going to have our choice of a deck here. We can basically have a 2-pack deck, which means if you can field a 2-pack deck where after pack 2, yeah, I mean, look at this. We've got another Spirit, a Drogskull Infantry, another Syncopate. There's even a Scavenger here, which is weird. But, so do we want Infantry or Spirit? I think I'll take Infantry, because I think we can get another one of these if we want. I think we might be the only white or blue drafters at this whole table. Remember this second pack, we had the choice between, I think, Heron of Hope and Repository Scob, and this one still came back. We're not going to play this, but we'll at least take it here. Fear of Death over a third Syncopate. Yeah, I'll take a Fear of Death. Don't know if I want to play it, though. Here's a Siphon Essence. Still came back. Again, I think this... We have certainly found the open archetype at this table, and if the Catilda or a Dorothea is opened in pack 3, I think it very well might find its way to us. Alright, so we got a Heron of Hope, we have a Siphon Essence, and a Thirst for Discovery. We can lean towards having a bit of a blue-white control good creatures deck, because right now we've got 2 Syncopates, a Siphon Essence, and we can pick up a second one. And with all these cheap creatures, we can hold up Syncopate and Siphon Essence even on turn 5 and 6 if we don't want to just drop a creature. We already have 1 Scattered Thoughts as well. There's a Thirst, and actually what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Thirst, because the first Siphon Essence we got wheeled with like 3 cards in the pack, which makes me think this one will as well. So I'm going to take Thirst over a second Heron of Hope here. Unlucky we can't play Piper. This card's really, really fun and really, really good, but not for us. So we've got Olembach Escort, again, not for us. It's between Heron of Hope and Chill of the Grave. I'm going to take Chill here, because we have a Heron of Hope in the last pack, and we have a Heron of Hope in this pack. There's a decent chance either one of them comes back to us. And then we can cut maybe a Gutter Skulker or something like that to make sure our forests don't get too busy. But Chill of the Grave is a good way to canter it, make sure we hit our land so we can get all the way to Hullbreaker. So we'll take our first Chill of the Grave here. Arm the Cathar is a great card, not for us. Distracting Geist on the aggressive side, which we are not. Chill of the Grave is fine, would take it, but I'm going to go ahead and take our first Lantern Bear here for sure. Definitely want to secure up a Lantern Bear. Would love to get Fierce Retributions, things like that as well. So some people don't like Dawnheart Geist, but honestly, I think it's pretty good in blue-white. We have 3 enchantments, not to mention here's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... I mean, we have a 9. We have a lot of enchantments already, and this card just gains you life. Again, a 2-mana 1/3 good blocker that gets us to Hullbreaker Horror by gaining life. So we're definitely going to take it, and hopefully we wheel a Binding Geist out of this pack. This deck build is going to be pretty difficult, I think. So there's a Shield Basher, but I don't even know if we want to play this first one, because this deck is looking to be a little bit different than some of my other blue-white builds. There's another Syncopate, which we could consider. There's also a Selhoff Entomber, which I'm not an enormous fan of, but again, in this kind of deck, you can pitch a lot of these creatures that have backside disturbs, and it's just a good blocker on the board. I'd be fine trading this for a combat trick, too. So I'm actually going to take the Entomber here to help us get to where we need to be. Only card for us here is another Entomber. Don't know if I'd play 2, but we'll see. There's a Radiant Grace, Ceremonial Knife. How many creatures do we have? 18. We have plenty, but we will be cutting quite a bit of cards here. I don't know if I would play a Beguiler or a Radiant Grace. I'll take the Beguiler because it's a nice defensive creature that can tap things down if we need to, but I doubt we're going to play it. Here's a lot of good cards. There's a Piercing Light, there's a Syncopate, there's another Chill and a Scattered Thoughts. I think I'll take a second Chill of the Grave over a second Scattered Thoughts, because this one actually affects the board in some way and still draws us a card. So we'll take a second Chill here. The Siphon Essence did come back, which is good. Don't think we're going to play a Wanderlight Spirit. Okay, so we have a lot of cuts to make in this deck, and that'll be a video in itself. Not necessarily, but it'll be a it'll be a chapter unto itself today, that's for sure. Gonna be a hard deck build, but we'll see. And here are all the blue-white cards coming back. We won't play a Throng because we only have 1. We won't play Cathars because we're not aggressive, so I will take Piercing Light, but I don't think we're going to play that. Again, here they all come back. We'll take Binding Geist. I think that is a copy of a card that I do want. We'll go ahead and cut a couple of these cards already here. Here we go. We could have access to 5 counter spells in this deck if we want. But we do have to cut 10 cards here, so it's going to be difficult. Okay, so a lot of the time I say that we need a high density of 2-drops. We certainly have that in this deck, don't we? So we need 10 cuts. Let's see here. I think Fear of Death is fine to cut. We have a lot of instants. We have 11 instants if we want to keep all of these. Let's say we cut 9 creatures. We'd be down to 10. I don't think we need double Entomber, and there's a chance we don't even need single Entomber. I don't think Shield Basher fits into this deck. I don't think Gutter Skulker is going to be how we're going to win with this deck. Because tapping out for a 4-mana 3/3 isn't going to be the best plan of action, I think, for us. I like the rest of these creatures up here. So let's check our 2-drops. Yeah, I just don't think the Entomber fits with this deck as much as we want it to. We have enough 2-drops that we can keep them, and I think I want to keep the rest of these. Maybe I know this was our pack 1 pick 1, but I don't think it's what this deck is trying to do. As far as the rest of these cards, I think these are all totally fine up here. Maybe Binding Geist on the chopping block, but let's check down here now. I will cut 1 Syncopate at the very least. There's a chance we could consider going 16 lands, but no, we have a 7-drop. We have a lot of card draw, though. I want to keep Adamant Will, I want to keep Nurturing Presence, and I want to keep Cradle of Safety. I want to keep Lunar Rejection. I want to keep double Siphon Essence. Maybe we can cut 1 Chill of the Grave. Thirst is really good. I want to keep... We don't have to keep Scattered Thoughts necessarily. I'll go double Essence, single Syncopate, 1 Chill. And maybe Nurturing Presence isn't good enough in this deck. Because what are we using it for? We're putting it on Drake and Brinecomber, which are 2 really good combos, though. We have a lot of flyers. So which is better, Thirst or Scattered? I think Thirst is better. It's a little bit cheaper. I think we can get rid of Scattered Thoughts here. We still have 3 counter spells, 1 Disruption, some good card draw, some protection, and a lot of really good creatures here. So I think this is a pretty good way to run it back, to be honest. Very difficult deck build, but we do have a Hullbreaker Horror, so let's hope we can cast it. Awesome, so difficult deck build, but here we are. As we get into the first match here, I wanted to remind all of you that here at Daily Draft, we make sure to post each and every draft we record, win or lose. Obviously, I'd love for every draft on this channel to be a trophy, but there's still value in learning from mistakes and underperforming decks, so we're here to make sure that you can learn at least something from each and every video on the channel that we post. So keep that in mind as we either get this trophy or underperform, because this deck is pretty good. We'll keep it. Don't have a white, but we at least have a 2-drop in Syncopate, and then can counter that too, so we'll see. Okay, now they're tipped off that we have Syncopate, which is a bit awkward. But again, we couldn't have played the white because didn't have it, so let's see if they play into it. So they're playing around it now because they know we have it. So let's I think we could be mana efficient, just play the Brindecomber here. The next turn we can play Geist, hold up Syncopate for 1, but again, they know we have it, so it's going to be hard to get value out of this. Unless we completely hold up the whole time. Let's go ahead and trade here. I know they get to get another one, but I'd rather do that than take 2. Okay, that's not great for us. So we could do Minister plus hold up Siphon Essence, but then Dawnheart Geist does have a good block against Twinblade Geist at the very least. And we still get to Syncopate for 1, even though they're not going to run into it because they know we have it. But what we could do is Minister hold up Siphon Essence, and if they don't play into it, next turn we can go Geist hold up Siphon Essence or Syncopate. Be mana efficient both times. But the thing is, I don't want to take 5. So I think I'm going to go Geist here. And hopefully we can draw an answer to the Cruel Witness. Because that's just going to keep beating us down, it seems. Play a 5-drop. So we did successfully stave off the Twinblade Geist, which is good. See, they continue to play around it here. So now we can do this, and I think in order to get value, I think we're just going to have to. Because otherwise they're never going to play into it. So what we can do is we can kick the Lunar Rejection, return the Witness to end of their turn, and then counter it the next turn. Seems like something we might need to do here, just to make sure that we don't die to flyers before we can play our horror. Unless they play some crazy bomb right now, we'll see. Interesting. So clearly they have something. But I think I'm willing to do this and just see what they have. Okay. So they want to give Cruel Witness double strike. Hopefully they do it now, so we can bounce it. Sure. And sure. So we'll cleave this to bounce that. Draw a card. Then we have Siphon Essence. So we'll go Spirit, gain a life. And then rather than play Brindecomber, I'm going to hold up Siphon Essence for their Cruel Witness. They are going to get double strike on something, which is not going to be great. Hopefully they don't have Syncopate now. Okay. Although double strike on the crawler this turn doesn't do a lot. It does next turn. Yeah, so they're just going to hold that up. We'll play our planes because we want to play lands to get up to Hullbreaker Horror. So Braincomber we can put on the Dawnheart Geist. We're going to be chumping. Well, we don't have to chump this next turn necessarily because of Crawler. There's also using the blood token, get rid of the Siphon Essence to try to hit 2 shots at a land for Horror. Let's do this. We can actually chump with the flyer that this makes. So why don't we do this on top of... on top of the Spirit. Gain 2 life. Make a 1/1. Gain another life. Hold up Siphon Essence, and then we'll have to see at the end of their turn if we want to get rid of it so that we can try to hit another land for Hullbreaker or not. So let's see. Okay, make another 1/1. And then it can't block. Sure, whatever. Pass to attackers. We don't need to chump for 3. I thought they were going to put the Geist on back of it. So no blocks. And we do not care about that. So, you know, I think we are going to get rid of this Siphon Essence, because at this point they have to top deck a creature we care about, and we need another land to cast this card. So we have 2 shots at it here now. There's 1, there's 2. Didn't get it. So, we're just going to go ahead and drop our hand. Gain a life. And I need this, at least one of these back as chump blockers. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hold. I do need to remember this can't be countered. So even though we're playing against blue, we can just drop it whenever we want. Okay, so they are giving it double strike now. Let's just jump with the 1/1. And then we can trade that, I think. Let's go here and then here. We are in desperate need of a land here very shortly. Does this require to tap? Oh, it doesn't. Okay, that's pretty good. Sure. So we're going to bounce something on upkeep. It's a bit awkward because now we can use it in response. Should have just done it on their turn. Well, we're going to exile Cradle. Do we want to transform this? Oh, that was a mistake. We could have transformed this and cast Horror off of it. So, darn. Forgot about that. Haven't played with Mythic Rares very often here, obviously. So, exile the top card of your library face down. You may look at it for as long as it remains exiled. During each of your turns, you may play a land or cast a spell without paying its mana cost. I think we're going to decline. It's tough, though. Not exactly sure. That's a really tough one. There's the land at very least. So we're going to go here. We'll go ahead and gain our life. And unfortunately, this is going to become a 4/8 double strike. And that can trade with Hullbreaker Horror. But we can bounce it the next turn, assuming they don't get rid of our Horror. So, go ahead and pass the turn. So they're going to attack with both. Do we want to play this to eat the Throng? Thing is that they have a bounce spell that's really bad for us. So we might need to wait till the end of their turn, but so we know we're going to chump here. Is it worth taking 3 to get this to land? Yeah, let's block with it. Or at least try to. Oh geez. Yeah, that you know, that happens with these rares in this format sometimes. If they don't have the answer, you just kind of win, so yep. Alright, so 1-0, good hand here. We'll keep it. So we've got Spirit into Siphon Essence into Heron of Hope. They could have Siphon Essence of themselves, but let's see. I mean, Syncopate for themselves, but they don't, so that's fine. Belligerent Guest, fine to trade that. And go ahead. We are forecasting a counterspell here, but I'd rather do that than just play a random 1/3 that doesn't do much on this board. Sure. Just to be mana efficient, get that blood token. That way next turn we can go Geist, hold up safety, get rid of a land, you know, all the things. So. I know it's not the best creature, but it does work well on this board. Then there's one I probably would have rathered. Syncopate, but what can you do? Right, so I'll get in. I will not give it lifelink because we want to play Dawnheart Geist and hold up Syncopate. Oh, so they have Syncopate now. So we'll have to keep that in mind. This card has been one of the most interesting cards to play around in this format. So we could Syncopate this for x equals 2. They can Syncopate our Syncopate for x equals 1. So that's unfortunate. Do we want to trade Syncopates? I don't want this to resolve, but we know they have it. I'm 99% sure they have it, but at some point we're going to have to trade it. And I'd like to try to get rid of this. So here comes their Syncopate for x equals 1, and then we're just going to get got by a Ballista Watcher. Or we just completely punted and messed that up. Okay. My bad. So let's Get in there. This doesn't have reach. Yeah, so my fault there for punting, because now we're just gonna lose. I mean, honestly, even if we held on to it, I'm not sure there's much we could have done here, unless we draw Hullbreaker Horror, because we couldn't even cast this card, or we couldn't even play a card to make sure this doesn't flip. And at this point, we're just taking 7, and yeah, it's just gonna be ugly. So my fault. My fault. So we'll block here. I know we need 7 lands for Hullbreaker, but we're still going to get rid of this one. Okay. And Quartermaster. Can we do that now? We can't hold up Cradle of Safety if we do that. But it can trade with Ballista Watcher, theoretically, so I might just have an Abrade or something like that, which would not be great news. Other option would be Binding Geist plus Hold Up Cradle of Safety, or Binding Geist plus Lifelink. I think I'm going to just do this. This gives us the best chance to win here. Because now we can get them down to 13, and the next turn we can attack them for 6 more. Assuming everything goes alright. That doesn't do anything on this. Well, yes it does. Gets rid of whatever they want to get rid of here, so. Yeah. Cards didn't really line up super well for this matchup. And then there's the Lacerate Flash. So I think we're just on Hullbreaker or bust at this point, probably. Which may not even do it. We'll do that. We'll go here. And pass the turn. Man, they flooded out hard, but they've drawn 2 cards a turn, so maybe it was not worth syncopating that guest. But the thing is, next turn we were playing this, or we're playing the Heron of Hope and tapping out anyway. So, you know, I'm not sure there was really a way out of any of this at the end of the day. So we'll see here. Am I willing to trade either of these cards for Celebrants? I suppose not. I do not want it to flip tonight. So I'm gonna have to do this now. Get rid of their Watcher. And there's the Horror. So maybe we're not quite done yet. They do have an unblockable Celebrant at some point. Oh god, okay, now we're done. Yeah, they could just drain. Yeah, I didn't think we're basically done at this point. Plus that, plus Menace. Yep, so we drew the Horror, but it was too late. So, oh well. We were never beating that deck. Okay, so 1-1 after getting trounced in that last round. We have 3, 4, 5. It's a little slow, but we have a ton of 2-drops. I think we're going to keep it, because we are on the draw. We get an extra shot at something here. Well, that's a 2-drop, but not quite what I was going for. Okay, so there's a 3-drop we can play, but it doesn't block the Celebrant very well, so. They did miss their 3rd land. So I'm going to play this to threaten a block on the Ridge Wolf. Next turn we go Heron of Hope, and then hope we can get off to the races. Runebound Wolf. Okay, so we are going to trade here. We'll do our only option and play Heron of Hope. Hopefully they don't have a Braid. Ragged Recluse, that's fine. They can't attack. We could go Binding Geist plus hold up Siphon Essence, or we could just play Heron Blessed Geist, and I think I'd rather do this here. Because next turn we can do this combo. And if we draw one more land, we basically win. Well, they do have a high density of 2-drops, but so what do we want to do? Geist plus Essence? Or Drake plus Essence? We can go... there might be something better. Well, this does have First Strike, so there is that, but we can also get the... if we draw our 2-mana 1/3 that can gain us 2 life off of this, that could be better. There's a Storm Chaser Drake. I think I'm just going to play the Drake as another body to make sure we don't die, because once we get this down, we basically just win. So. Okay. Trying to get a blood token, I assume. So we're just going to do this here. So they're doing whatever they can to get that blood token. That would have been really good post-combat here, but... Okay, so those do flip into 3/3s, which is relevant. But we need to draw land. There it is. Alright. So we will not be blocking with Drake here, so there's no reason to not attack with that. Man, I feel bad for them. They've missed like 14 cards. They've had 2 lands. We will promptly make them force a concession here. Yeah, we could take 3. Who cares? There we go. Feels bad, but you'll take your wins when you open horrors, you know. Okay, back on the winning side here at 2-1. We've got a really good hand that we'll keep. 1-drop into 2-drop into 3-drop. Seems fine to me. Hopefully they don't have Flame Blessed Bolt, and they don't. Good. Flame Breather, okay. We will go Spirit and gain a life. Okay. Let's go Binding Geist, gain another life here. Awkward. They have a land in hand that they can do this next turn, which could get really bad for us, but we will see. Let's give it here, and I actually think I'm fine trading that with the Flame Breather, because this has a backside we can play. Well, we also don't even need to, so there you go. It's not a card I put in my deck very often, so I forgot about the whole attacks -2/-2, or -2/-0. So, yep. Go ahead. Hopefully they don't have a land. Oh, darn. So they have Necro Duality now, which could get really bad. I think we're going to tap down Flame Breather. Draw a card. Next turn we can do Nurturing Presence on the Spirit or on something and then get in for like 8. So we'll just let them attack with the Spirit because we don't care about that. And I think we want to make sure we use our mana here. Draw another land. And all of the islands. Let's do Nurturing Presence here. And here. Get in for 8. And hopefully they don't have a zombie. That's a zombie. I have 2 3/3s now. Probably not going to exploit, didn't think so. There's Cradle. Play a land. Can't really attack with those. So I guess we'll go in with the Binding Geist here. Cradle would make this a 3/2, which would still get eaten by that, or still trade with that, so. We are on the offensive, so let's get in there, and we will do it to that one. Sure. So we could put the Binding Geist on this, and then theoretically cradle this next turn to start getting in. I think we could also save it so that we can attack with Spirit next turn, which I think is better. So I'm going to do that. Okay, I think I'm alright with that. Looks like they got this maybe like mid pack 3 or like early pack 3, and we're like, oh my gosh, now we gotta pick up all the zombies we can in our blue-red deck. Hopefully they didn't get there, but let's see. Okay, so they drew 2 non-lands, probably. Oh, well, they probably took a land because they might have needed one. There's their splash. Okay, that's a good draw for us. Let's do Binding Geist on Wanderlight Spirit, play Drake. So let's do this here. That can now attack. We'll probably just pump this and trade it for the Scob. Don't think we need to save it because we want to hold up Stormchaser Drake plus Cradle now that we have it. So let's get in there here. And who knows, maybe they forget to block. Or don't want to block. Now they do. Okay. That's all fine. So we'll play Drake. We have good attacks now here, and we have protection for the Drake that can draw us a card. Hopefully they don't play a flying zombie. That is not a flying zombie. It's a flying card, but not a zombie. Not the greatest, because now they can block. Wouldn't mind drawing Adamant Will here. I'm not sure if we cut that card. I think we kept it in. Okay. So let's... We could pump this to a 4-2, but it still trades with our spirit, which is not great. We definitely are going to be gaining a life, though. We'll play Minister and we'll hold up Cradle, I guess. At least these two offset the fact that we aren't going to be blocking their Kindly Ancestor. But right now, they have a lot of gas and we don't, so we need to draw out of it. No blocks. Whispering Wizard, also not good for us. Guess we'll play Infantry here. Gain 2 life. We can start getting in here with at least this spirit. So let's do this. See if they want to trade with their Wanderlight spirit. Okay. So they have non-creatures in hand that they're going to make 1/1 with, but we can Cradle this, draw a card, eat that 1/1 next turn, theoretically. Let's hope they don't play even more flyers. Okay. Don't care about that. Kind of care about another one. Thinking real hard here. So they're like full 3 colors here. That's not at all what we needed. But we're going to go ahead and pump this one so it can attack, and then we can pump the Drake. And then theoretically they're going to play a non-creature spell, try to trade with the Drake, and then we can Cradle it, eat the 1/1, draw a card. Don't know which non-creature they have is the thing, though. Hopefully it's not a bounce like Lunar Rejection or whatever. And then we'll pump the Drake. Okay, that's awkward. This card just keeps burning me this format. I never play around it because it's so bad, but you know, here it actually does something. So they're gonna block our Drake and then eat our infantry. At least we get to save our Drake. And the next turn we can use the backside of infantry on top of the Drake to draw another card. Oh no, they're still getting priority. What do they have? Please don't have a Braid or something. Fierce Retribution, okay. Well, that means we need to draw something that's not a Plains, so here we go. So we're going to be taking a lot. So we do have a card in this deck that can get us out of this, theoretically, assuming we don't die before then. We only have about 2 turns to find it, if that. It's not really it, but it is something. Pass the turn. Hopefully they don't have removal for it, because if they do, it's not great. See what I mean by this card being a little slow? We kind of top decked a Mythic Rare late game, and then we're still not in a great spot here. So we can at least bounce this. I think we're going to pass the turn, hold up the Jacob Hauken activation to get rid of the planes, and we're really just digging for Hullbreaker Horror at this point. But honestly, at this point, I'm not really sure it's going to get us out of it. It could, but we'll see. Go to 7, and then have to syncopate that for x equals 2. Right? Yeah, they can't pay 2, so... Get rid of that, and then activate this. I don't think we can afford to flip this, because we just need a body at this point. There's another... Is it worth gaining life with these at this point? I'm not even sure it is. I'm going to gain life with one of them, because then we can threaten double block on the Ancestor here. With the other one. And maybe that's enough to hold them back? I'm not sure. Okay, at least we can bounce that. Well, now they have 2 of them and they're going to draw 2 more cards, so... Yeah, that's the one card with Necro Duality I did not want to see. So they are decking before us at this rate, but we're going to be using this to dig a lot, so... And there it is. So, let's use 1 to gain life again. Then we're going to cast it on the end of their turn. Or if they attack with everything, we can do that too. And then we can start bouncing some of these tokens and things. And alright, so we did find it. So let's see if it can get us out of this here. This will be an uphill grind, but we're going to try it. Okay. Don't think we can do anything about that is the problem. So we have to let it resolve, and it's a spirit, which is not fun. So we're gonna have to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then trade a minister for the ancestor. And I don't know if there's a way we can get out of this, but we're gonna try. We need to let this. We need to untap with this, at the very least. Okay, so we can go Geist to make 2 1/1s, and then die to the other one. No, we have to gain life with the minister. Oh, what does this cost? 2? Okay, so we have to get rid of Heron of Hope then. And then die. Darn, we were so close. I think if we would have untapped, we would have been able to have a chance, but did not quite get there. So clearly we needed to chump and then bounce so that they couldn't have done that. Yeah, I missed that line. I mean, I think we're still fighting an uphill battle, but oh well. Alright, so we're on the play here with a great hand that we will keep. Okay. I think I want to get Dawnheart Geist down first, and I will hit them rather than gaining a life. See, there's a good block here. We can hold up Siphon Essence now. And we'll just gain this life. And pass the turn. Am I willing to trade this for a combat trick? I guess we'll Siphon Essence that to be mana efficient here. And they will not attack, although the knife on this is a good combo. I think we need to play Binding Geist. And we will not be blocking. Well, if we leave this back, we force them to use 2 mana to put on that, which I'm fine forcing them to do. So I will not attack for that reason. There we go, so they can't advance their board now. Well, they can't advance as well as they might have liked to. So there's a land. We can go Howkin plus Nurturing Presence, which I think is fine to do. So we'll go play him. Then we'll play Nurturing Presence on Dawnheart Geist here. We'll give this, and then we'll get in with both and give that -2, -0. Now there is some disconnect here between having Hullbreaker Horror in hand and a Jacob Howkin and a Blood Token on the field because we want lands to get here, but theoretically we need to do nothing for our next 3 turns and able to cast this on curve, which is not something I really want to do, and I also don't want to flip this. So we're going to have to get a little creative here. So we can use the Blood Token, get rid of Brinecomber, get a card, still cast the Brinecomber. Or the backside of it. Because I do not want this to flip by any means. So let's do that. Storm Chaser Drake. That might be better because then next turn we could put the Brinecomber on it. So let's play the Drake. Gain a life and pump this and get in there. This also might be one of those games where we may just need to pitch Hullbreaker Horror. Because I don't know if we're going to have time to play it. It's either going to end through our flyers or we're going to die to 6/6s and 3/1 first strikes and 4/4s and stuff. So it's going to be close here. Can't block. I mean, we could, but we're not going to. And then they have a reach creature. Of course they do. So we need the land, but we're still going to put it here. It's a decent draw, I think. So we do need the land, like I said. But this stupid thing is going to stonewall us now. So let's gain a life here. And then hold up Siphon Essence. They have a good green-red deck. I think the key to having a really good one is having access to these reach creatures. Because what these decks lose to are flyers like this. They would have lost if they would not have resolved either of these. So they're attacking with that? Yeah, I didn't think so. Interesting. So we do need to get rid of or try to get rid of the Paxson Puck now while we can, and there's a chance this still doesn't work. They could just blow us out by killing one of these, but we need to try. Or any kind of combat trick or anything. So, I mean, this very likely doesn't work, but we need to at least give it the chance. Okay. So the Paxson Pup dies. They do gain life. At this point, I think we're just trying to get to 7 mana here. So do we get rid of the Siphon Essence? They're going to flip this. I think we need to, because we need to try to get to 7 mana. Okay. It's a good draw for us. We can tap this down on their upkeep and then draw another card. So let's Doesn't really matter which one we do here. We will not play Binding Geist because I want to have another card to cast once this resolves. We will not attack. We're going to go ahead and tap this down now. And there's our land. Awesome. Okay. Okay, so they're going to get in with the sharpshooter. Pass to blockers. We'll try to bounce it. I think I'm okay at this point trading this for a combat trick. So we'll let them do that. And the next turn we can eat something with the Hull Breaker. So we'll get in there with our flyers now. Uh-oh. Witch's Web. Okay. That's fair. That's why they attacked with the sharpshooter. Okay. Alright, Hullbreaker. It's up to you. We're going to try to eat their Jailbreaker, I think. But if they have another combat trick, then we're screwed if we do that. So we just might have to chump this and then try to bounce it. I think that's better because we don't want them to have a combat trick. So pass to attackers. They'll get in with everything and train it. Resolves. They still have priority, although it could just be a blood token. So let's try to eat something here. So we'll pass to blockers. We'll do that. We'll do this. And don't think we need to chump here. We're taking 9 this way. Yeah, let's try that. Hopefully no double combat trick on Sharpshooter. That would be devastating. They've already used one of them. I don't know how many they would play. Maybe no Abrade plus Flame Blessed Bolt or something. We need this to survive. Okay, that's fine. Alright, my turn. We can get rid of that with Jacob Hauken, but first we will play a Quartermaster and return this. Put it here and here. And there we go. Hullbreaker does it again. Alright, playing here at 3 and 2 against Secret Crocodile. We need a blue, obviously, but we do have Traveling Minister, and I think we're going to keep it. That's not quite it. So basically we have to block, force them to use their mana and use Adamant Will. And then hope we draw blue. Or we could just try to eat their wolf, but then they still get to play. This doesn't have a target. Yeah, let's just try to use our mana, keep our creature around. If they get rid of it with something, then yeah. I mean, we still traded a card for a card, so that's okay. Now we just need a blue. Not what I meant. Still not what I meant. Yep, not quite what I'm looking for here. So looks like we're gonna poop out at 3-3, just due to some mana screw here at the end. But you know, it happens. We win to some, we lose to some. I think we had an opponent that only got two lands down on their field at one point. So let's just end it by drawing one more plains. Oh, well, there's the blue. Okay. We're not dead. Yeah, we're dead. Let's do this. And draw a 2-drop white. Now there's the blue. So if those cards were in a couple different orders, we could have been a little lucky, but happens in Magic. Gotta accept it when it happens to you. Also, don't forget to stick around until the end of the video to toggle through our Crimson Vow trophy playlist. And thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you on Tuesday for your daily draft.